السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده ربه وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة دلالة وكل دلالة في النار. Verily all the praise, certainly all of our gratitude and the magnitude, it should only be for Allah Jalla fi Ula. And I publicly bear witness to La Ma'bud bihaqqin illallah ta'ala. There is no object, no deity, no essence, no entity that is worthy of worship except for Rabbul Izzah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I bear witness that Muhammad al-Amin, as-Sadiq, al-Masduq, Abu Qasim alayhi salatu taslim is the last and finality of messengers sent to guide me and you, blacks, the whites, the reds, the yellows, all people, all nations, from the darkness into the light. Ya ikhwati fillah, ya akhwati fillah, since new leadership came in other countries, ya ikhwan, and we've been watching the news, watching the radio, listening to what is being propagated on social media, ya ikhwan, it came back across my mind to discuss the issue of the battle between haq and batil. Haq and batil, ya ikhwan. Truth and falsehood. There's this battle that has been going on, ya ikhwan, from the time where that shaitan, lanatullah alayhi wa janudi, he decided to put a war against Adam and Adam's children, ya ikhwan. So the battle between haq and batil started a long time ago, my brothers. But there is a qawaid fiqhiyya principle, ya ikhwan, that one of my sheikhs, he taught me almost 30 years ago. May Allah have mercy upon him, rahimahullahu wa rahmatul wasi'ah. And you need to take this principle and ink it in gold. He said, as the ulama said before him, al-haq fawq al-jami'. Al-haq fawq al-jami'. That the truth is above everyone and everything, ya ikhwan. Name who you name, bring who you bring. From the popular people from the past that we have held high in reverence, al-haq fawq al-jami'. And we see this principle practiced in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and after he died, people would say something. Well, Abu Bakr said, well, Umar said, and the Sahaba said, but Muhammad ﷺ, he said, Allah said. And this is a big issue we have right now, ya ikhwani, ya akhawati, the issue of the battle between truth and falsehood. وقال الله تعالى فماذا بعد الحق إلى دلالة. Apart from the truth, what else except it is falsehood, ya ikhwan. And they lie every single day on the media, ya ikhwan. Even some people in the States, the people that are leading the show, they've been saying false news, fake news. So you don't know what to believe these days, ya ikhwani, ya akhawati. So this principle, it resolves every single misconception. And it helps to, ya ikhwani, to help those people that have illogical debating discussions to throw it to the side, my brothers. وقال الله تعالى وقل جاء الحق وزهق الباطل إن باطل كان زهوقا. This verse, ya ikhwan, if you go in the Muslim lands, you see it written all over the place, ya ikhwan. And say that the truth has come, indeed falsehood has perished. The falsehood, ya ikhwan, it is bound to perish, ya ikhwan. But now the question comes, ya ikhwan, many years ago, when there was a particular Arabic name media over in the Middle East, when it came, the people of this land, they got upset that the Muslims would actually have a media, ya ikhwan, that we would have a voice, that we could put something out into the stratosphere, into the atmosphere, into the globosphere, into the social sphere, ya ikhwan, and we can have our own voice. This is something that is really important, ya ikhwan, because we're studying the battle between truth and falsehood. Truth, ya ikhwan, it is hard for the people to swallow. It is too pure, ya ikhwan. But many people in this society, they love falsehood because it seems sweet. Lies, they sell more than the truth. People love to lie. And one guy even told me, believe it or not, that the best part of getting away with lies is that people believe you to be telling the truth. This is the best thing, the guy said. I said, I told a lie and I was believed and I got away with it. It's a sickness, ya ikhwan. Many, ya ikhwan, in the society, they block the truth. Many get paid to do this. Big business media outlets, people that control media, they're able to dictate the narrative in society, ya ikhwan. And where is the Muslim media? It doesn't exist. Because, ya ikhwan, we ourselves are lacking in understanding. And as one of my sheikhs said, he's sick, may Allah heal him. He wrote a book, ya ikhwan, and I gave it away a long time ago. I wish I had that, to show the young brothers. He said the only way for our da'wah to be prevalent after the help of Allah is that our volume of our da'wah must be louder than all the other calls, ya ikhwan. But our da'wah is quiet, brothers. Because some of the Muslims are scared. Some of the Muslims don't want to offend anybody. Some of the Muslims want to be Canadian. Canadian. Yeah, I got indigenous blood on both sides of my life. You can never be more Canadian than me, Yahweh. And I got the biggest mouth, Yahweh, that I know. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Allah gave it so I can call to Allah in the land, Yahweh, that my ancestors were practicing Islam as we've been discovering in this land before many Muslims came here. The Muslims came and they spread dawah in this land, Yahweh, by a small word. So we look at the situation, my dear brothers. Lies make great entertainment. It's a great industry, Yahweh. The imagination, being able to run wild, Yahweh, fabrication. But Yahweh, the truth is very riveting. The truth, it is ground shaking. The truth is earth moving. The truth is jaw dropping, Yahweh. The truth is hard hitting. The truth, Yahweh, is the raw uncut. The question comes, Yahweh, ya akhawati. How many of us have written a nice article and put it in the newspaper? How many of us, Yahweh, have talked to some people and said, let me break down these misconceptions you have about our faith? Many of the Muslims, we're just sitting on the chair, Yahweh, or we're up in the bleachers, Yahweh, criticizing those that are down in the game, Yahweh, and doing the dawah. Oh, his recitation is a multitude. No problem, not there. He doesn't look strong and fit. Come and try the hippopotamus, see if you get knocked on your butt. Come and try. Yahweh, we have so much to say, but we don't say the right thing at the right time. So the question comes, Yahweh, the war on the minds and the psyche, the war on the hearts and the souls, the war for our women and our children, Yahweh, the war over the lands and the resources. These are the things that we know about. It is known, Yahwani, Ya Akhawati, and it's not taught in the masjid by the born imams, unfortunately. Something called al-ghazwa al-fikri, the ideological attack, the psychological attack, or the intellectual attack, Yahweh, where people, Yahweh, are promoting ideas to our women and our children and us. And it's so subliminal at times, Yahweh, that we don't pick up onto it later. Also, Yahweh, the school systems, the newspapers, the radio, Google, and before it used to be called Twitter, now they call it X, Yahweh. Well, I used to love this guy called Malcolm X, rahmatullahi alayhi. I read his book. I read a book, Yahweh, 33 years ago, and I wanted to become Muslim because of the media of a book that a man put together before he passed away. We have, Yahweh, have to propagate our own narrative, my brothers. Why is that? Haq and batil. The truth, Yahweh, it can stand on its own. While falsehood, Yahweh, is built upon not strong but very weak foundations. Haq, it is easy to defend. The facts over the fiction is logical. Where fables of fabrication, Yahweh, they come apart one at a time. The truth doesn't make you stutter. Rather, Yahweh, it reaches, or people, the truth won't make you reach for straws, but falsehood will, Yahweh. Also, Yahweh, the falsehood is like a spider's house. You can huff and puff and blow the spider and its house away, Yahweh. This is what batil is. So when we look at the situation, my dear brothers and sisters, many of us, we came to Canada, and we want the brothers to change their intention, and sisters as well. Many of you guys, you came to Canada because you believe the lie, Yahweh. You believe the lie that there's milk and honey, and there's money on the trees in Canada, and that you can live up in the sky and you won't die, Yahweh. That's a lie. Also, Yahweh, I myself have lived in many Muslim countries, and there's a medicine that we're missing, Yahweh. And we believe the lie that it would be good when we came here. There's something called the adhan, Yahweh. We only hear the adhan, Yahweh, when we're inside the masjid. Whereas if you're in the Muslim country, you hear the propagation of Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You only hear it if you're already in the masjid. That means you have Allah's put a little bit of mercy into our hearts. Also, Yahweh, we find that this place, I don't know what it is, it seems like there's not a lot of barakah, ya ikhwan. When I was in Morocco studying some years ago, I would get up, I would read some Quran, I would study my class, I would go to my class, I would sit with my sheikh or my sheikh, I'd come back, pray dhuhr, and it's like I had the whole day still left to do all kinds of stuff. I went to another class, I went to another Quran class, I did my homework, and Maghrib just came in. Whereas this place, you wake up, ya ikhwan, you get going, and the day is done before you even start to get your third coffee in you. Right? We have to be caffeinated, they say. We have to be caffeinated so we can take in, ya ikhwan, the delusions of grandeur. So we look at the situation, my dear brothers and sisters, that we as Muslims, we got a lot of work to do. The word al-haq, they say it is in the Quran 227 times. So number one, the Shaykh goes on to say in this book that I took it from, that al-haq, it is one of the names of Allah from His Asma wa Husna. Number two, it is the opposite, wa aqsahu wa diddahu, it is the opposite of batil. Number three, it's the truth. Number four, when someone says to me, he stole from me, give me back my haq, meaning his due share. Number four, I need haq, give me the haq. They robbed me and stole from me, like our brothers and sisters in different parts of the world are suffering. They need their haq. Also, ya ikhwan, those that claim when their parents pass away, some of the kids, and I've seen this recently 4 times in the last year, Muslims, their parents die, and it's a sickness, ya ikhwan. It makes me want to vomit. Where kids are fighting over the will, ya ikhwan, and abhorrent behavior happens amongst the Muslims because they want their claim, their haq of the inheritance, ya ikhwan. It's a big fitna. Brothers and sisters are no longer talking anymore because they have to split $250,000, which sometimes it works out to maybe, I don't know, $100 and something thousand. You stop talking to your brother and sister for a little bit of money, and you're going into your grave, that money's not going to help you. Ya ikhwan, also what it ought to be. The truth needs to prevail on the earth, ya ikhwan. But the Muslims, we have time for any da'wah, ya ikhwan. Many of the Muslims, unfortunately, ya ikhwan, they do what they call reactionary da'wah. Right? Something bad happens, oh, let's go out and give roses to everybody. We should have been given da'wah from day one, ya ikhwani. Alhamdulillah, Imam Bilal, rahimahullah, one of my imams, he was from New York City. He used to drive a pink Cadillac. He used to have on a gray suit when he was working, and he had on a Moroccan fez. He would pull out his sajada in the middle of the street, downtown Toronto. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and make salat right in the street. Back in the 70s, ya ikhwan. Back in the 70s! Waiting for someone to come and tell them that he can't worship Allah. Before that, some say he was a hustler in the street, doing some things. So in his mind, if he could hustle and do some bad things, why can't he do some good things for Allah and not be afraid to worship Allah in the open? Also, ya ikhwan, the haq is a duty upon us. It is incumbent upon us to spread the haq. There are some brothers, and I'm not trying to promote people too much, but there's some brothers that translated the Quran. Buy 10 copies and go distribute it to people that you know. Say, hey, listen, I know people are saying bad things about the Muslims, man, but look, man, here's our book, you read it for yourself. But brother, that might cost me $36, brother. I won't be able to go and eat my halal chingai. I won't be able to go and eat my halal beef korban. I won't be able to afford it. If I go and I buy some books for dawah and I give it out, it's going to hurt my pockets. This is why the dawah is suffering. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Alhamdulillah, hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fih, kama yuhibbu rabbuna wa yarda. Ya ikhwani, one of the first verses that I learned to fall in love with, ya ikhwan, as when I first became Muslim, my family was giving me a hard time. One brother, he taught me this verse, وقال الله تعالى هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على دين كله ولو كره المشركون. This verse, yeah, was one of the first verses. It is He who has sent the Messenger Muhammad ﷺ with guidance and the religion of truth to manifest over every other way of life, Yahweh. People are embracing Islam that were prostitutes and pimps and killers and robbers. And when they come into Islam, and I used to work with many of them in the jail, they said, what's wrong with the Muslims? They have the most beautiful book that has ever been put together, Al-Quran. And they have the finest guidance that has ever been put together, the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But when I was out of jail 6 years ago, Ahmed was selling Lotterio tickets, and he was selling some magazines that shouldn't be sold, and he was selling hookah, and he was selling things he shouldn't be selling. These brothers, they got very upset. You're a Muslim, and you're selling the things that are destroying the community. So Yahwani, it comes down to us as a ummah. When these ayats of Quran are putting together, you take a word haq, batil, sidq, any word you take, there's what they call a mawdu', a science that the scholars put together, a subject matter, where you'll find books just on certain words. And they gather all those words into a book and they explain it and they break it down. Why did they do that? It's called taqreeb al-ma'ana, to bring something far close so we can understand certain concepts. So when we look at this situation, Yahwan, the battle between truth and falsehood, right and wrong, it is the battle between light and darkness. It is a battle between iman and kufr. So we look at the situation, my brothers. There can be no compromise when it comes to truth and falsehood, just like there can be no mixing of the day and the night, the black and the white. وقال الله تعالى ولا تلبسوا الحق بالباطل وتكتموا الحق وأنتم تعلمون. Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, do not mix truth and falsehood or hide the truth knowingly. We have become some of the proponents of hiding our religion from our neighbors. I've seen it. Muslims afraid to talk about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I have an auntie every single time I talk to her. You know, Jesus loves you, baby. You can come back to Jesus. You can come back. And I can remember, Yahwan, when I was raising my kids and we were young and struggling to be a single father at one time. And my car broke down. And I didn't get much support from the Muslims at that time. My auntie called me up and said, your mama told me, baby, that your car is broken down, baby. This is what she said. Man, come back over to the church. Jesus loves you. We'll be able to get you a car by tomorrow. This was their dawah then. And their dawah didn't change, Yahwan. And even my neighbor, the Sikhs, they're always asking, am I hungry? Do you need something? Do you want us to feed you? When it comes to the da'wah of the Muslims are what we call in my culture, man, they got short hands and deep pockets. That's my culture. I mean, we can't come out the pocket and support anything positive like some of our brothers and sisters are here today. Our propagation skills, Yahweh, unfortunately, they need some help. We'll end it with the ayah, وقال الله تعالى ذلك بأن الله هو الحق وأن ما يدعون من دونه الباطل وأن الله هو علي الخبير. Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, in this verse, Yahweh, there's so much you can take out of it. This is because Allah, He is the truth. And that which they invoke besides Allah, it is batil. It is batil. It is batil. And that Allah, He is the Most High, the Most Great. So when we look at this situation, Yahweh, if you look at it in society, people have taken Isa and Maryam as a Lord besides Allah. The Yahud have taken Israel as a Lord beside Allah. Some of the Catholics have taken Maryam as lords besides Allah. False deities, false gods. Also, Yahwani, Yahwati, there's a new God that they developed. These are for the atheists that don't believe in a deity. They believe in a new deity called the God of Science. This is a real thing that just came up recently, okay? Also, Yahwani, the God of money, the God of power, the God of government. Yahweh, there are many ways to God, as I was told from some of my family members. Also, ya ikhwan, counterfeit gods. Some of them have them in our pocket, right? When we have those Canadian dollars or those British dollars or those US dollars, and we come back into the Muslim country and we throw out 100 US, right? As I was watching the other day, one of the brothers, he was in Syria, and he gave out $100 US and he got back $1 something in Syrian money, Yahweh. And he's feeding people on the street, which is a good thing. Yahweh, false deities are of different levels. And there's another one, Yahweh, Allah guide my sister. She's into our native religion. So she believes in the God of Mother Earth, Yahweh, the environment. All these things, there may be some good, there may be some bad, but when you mix truth and falsehood together, Yahweh, you get away from worshiping Allah Azza wa Jal. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, there's people calling to falsehood every day. Sometimes they may have a beard, they may have a kufi, they may have a thobe, they may look better than me, they may speak better than me, and they'll tell you, it's okay for you to go to the grave. And I've seen this in the Muslim countries with my own eyes. It's okay for you to make sujood to Fulan wa Allah that's in the grave right there. I've seen this with my eyes. Not in one Muslim country, but in 2 Muslim countries I've visited. It's okay, ask the Shaykh, he will help you out. Say, Akhi, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Brothers, be careful with what you hear. These ears, they're going to be accountable to Allah. Take in the information, and we need critical thinking Muslims with that. Hada ma indi, wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika, wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Keep us alive.